The game must continue.
7 kidnapped strangers wake up trapped in a mansion, forced to choose one of their own as a sacrifice, unaware their captor already knows every dark secret they've been hiding. We open with Lupe waking up on a carpeted floor in an unfamiliar room, while her father Esteban frees himself using a sharp furniture edge before freeing her too. The family reunites with her mother Marta in a tearful embrace nearby. Meanwhile, another captive named Simon frees a man named Armando, who frees Marta, and eventually a man named Jose Simon discovers a sealed metal door that won't budge, confirming they're all trapped together. And a glance out a nearby window reveals they're isolated inside a mansion on a remote island. As everyone sits in shock, Simon pours water for a shaken woman named Teresa, a flight attendant who explains she was knocked out and abducted right before a flight.
Anyone remember how we got here?
Everyone shares similar stories of abduction, except for Jose, who was also visibly tortured beforehand. Unable to figure out why these 7 specific people were targeted,
They don't want money. They just want to make us suffer.
Armando suggests they look for something connecting them all first, though Simon has everyone introduce themselves, revealing the group includes a police investigator, a businessman, a human rights lawyer, a woman who works alongside her husband, a surgeon, a flight attendant, and a retiree who stays vague about his background. Just then, a machine near the door activates, laying out the rules of what's apparently a game.
You are all here to be a part of my game.
One person must be chosen as a sacrifice. That person must accept their fate, and no one is allowed to volunteer themselves. Someone else has to choose for them.
You must choose one of you to die. No one will be able to offer themselves to die.
If they refuse to play at all, everyone dies, and they have exactly 1 hour to pick their first sacrifice.
You have 1 hour to decide who dies.
Panic sets in immediately as the timer starts, with some banging on the door while Marta tries to take charge, urging everyone not to play into the kidnapper's hands.
For the love of God, let's not give in to these psychopaths' sick game, okay?
Esteban assumes they're being targeted for ransom, given his wealth, insisting influential friends are likely already searching for them. But Armando points to Jose's earlier torture as proof this isn't something they can simply wait out.
We have no choice but to play.
Lupe raises a fair point too. Nothing guarantees the rest of them survive, even if they do sacrifice someone. As the group debates who should be exempt, from women to men to the police officer meant to protect them, Jose volunteers himself, reasoning his age makes him the most logical choice.
Choose me. I'm the oldest.
While some find the idea distasteful, they can't deny the practical truth in it, and Marta seems particularly drawn to the option. Lupe, ever the compassionate lawyer, presses Jose about his life and family, only to learn he has no one waiting for him at home, though she still insists all lives carry equal value.
We can't choose Jose just because he's the oldest of all of us.
Armando counters that his own survival matters more, given how many patients depend on him. As tempers flare, Jose again offers himself up.
I have nothing left to live for.
And just as Teresa moves to comfort him, he starts to mention terrible things he's done in his past. Before he can elaborate, 2 armed strangers burst in and shoot him dead in front of everyone. The game's hosts announce over the intercom that a rule's been broken, since Jose technically volunteered himself, and repeat the game's terms again.
The game must continue.
A desperate Esteban offers money for their release, but the hosts don't respond, leaving the group to realize they've just lost what many considered their easiest way out. The metal doors finally open into a new room, filled with unsettling carnival decor. A carousel horse, clown stickers, a toy train set beneath a maze painting, and a plastic Santa figure looming over a chessboard. Armando discovers envelopes bearing each player's name, and reading the first one aloud reveals they must solve a puzzle to progress, or die when the clock runs out. The puzzle demands personal secrets from each player, a family surname from Esteban and Marta, Teresa's choice deduced from her withdrawal symptoms, Lupe's forged high school diploma, the name of a partner Simon once betrayed, and Marta's estranged sister that the family always claimed didn't exist, revealed only when Marta breaks and says the name Ophelia herself. Since Jose can't answer for himself anymore, the others fill it in. The puzzle continues with Teresa's killer's alias, Armando's STD history, and finally the identity of the woman Esteban had an affair with, which his furious wife spits out herself. Piecing together the answers spells out a name almost no one recognizes, until Simon notices a small error and corrects it, revealing the true name. Pablo Vega Shaken. He explains that Vega is a notorious serial killer known for torturing corrupt people, someone the police could never accurately identify or catch. He admits that during one botched raid, he mistakenly shot and killed an innocent woman he believed to be Vega, who turned out to be Vega's own wife instead. Armando then reveals he once operated on a woman with the same surname, a hit-and-run victim whose injuries were beyond saving, and begs toward the door for forgiveness he never receives. Teresa then admits she was actually the one who hit that woman with her car in the first place, shifting blame further, and a furious Armando turns on her, accusing her of causing this entire nightmare and shoving her down before Simon intervenes to help her up. Moments later, a recorded testimony plays, revealing it was actually Armando's own surgical error that killed the woman, forcing him to stop denying it and beg for forgiveness himself. Teresa immediately pushes to make Armando their sacrifice, and he tries redirecting sympathy towards Simon instead, comparing his mistake to a line-of-duty accident. Lupe interrupts the escalating argument, reminding everyone that turning on each other is exactly what their captor wants. Esteban then suggests the three most clearly guilty people become the top candidates, prompting Armando to accuse him of trying to deflect blame onto his own family, an accusation Marta shuts down by insisting her loyalty to her husband is unshakable. Esteban instead points the finger at Simon before pivoting to suggest his own family shares blame too. And Marta finally reveals that the woman injured in that hit and run, Patricia Vega, was actually a former maid at their estate who left after becoming pregnant. Suspicion of Esteban fathering that child horrifies the rest of the family before another door opens.
The truth is in the details.
Leading them into a new room lined with photos of a mother and her son. Teresa gets emotional seeing a photo resembling her own son's graduation, while Marta and Esteban quietly argue about a secret they're desperate to keep buried. Eventually, the group notices a photo naming Marta's parents as Vega's own relatives, forcing Marta to finally reveal that her sister Ophelia was years ago, became pregnant as a result, lost her sanity, and was institutionalized, but kept the child anyway, meaning the family unknowingly played a role in raising the very man who's now hunting them. Horrified by the revelation, Teresa and even Lupe look at Marta and Esteban with disgust. Though the couple tries defending their past choices as necessary, Armando warns that indecision will doom them all and starts pressuring Marta and Esteban directly, accusing them of selfishly risking their own daughter's life. Marta instead tries buying her way out, offering Teresa a large sum of money for her son if she'll volunteer as their sacrifice. Simon and Armando object strongly, but Esteban keeps pushing the bribe, and though Teresa briefly considers it, she ultimately refuses, recognizing exactly the kind of person she doesn't want her son growing up to become. With negotiations collapsing, Simon calls for a vote, and the group turns on Esteban until Marta breaks down and insists they choose her instead, forcing her husband and daughter to accept the change as Marta begs Vega to spare the rest and end the game. The timer stops right as it hits 0, and nothing happens to her. Another door opens into the mansion's main hall, where a lavish dinner awaits, complete with assigned seating for every player. Despite hesitation, most of them start eating, Simon reasoning he'd rather face his fate on a full stomach. Teresa finds a pill waiting at her seat, but refuses to take it despite the risk of withdrawal. Realizing Marta's life seems safe now that the countdown has stopped, the group turns their attention back to Jose, concluding he was likely the man who assaulted Vega's mother years ago, making him arguably the most guilty person in the entire mansion. Esteban reaches for an apple and cuts himself on a hidden blade, which Armando discovers is meant to finish a job left unresolved, triggering the timer once again as Esteban and Lupe shield Marta, Simone, and Teresa. Armando lunges at Marta, only to be stopped and stabbed by Esteban, who smashes a wine glass over his head. First realizing his wound is fatal, Armando accepts his fate, and the group votes him their new sacrifice, with Esteban finishing the job at his request even after Armando's death. The timer doesn't stop, and panic returns until it finally halts right at 0, opening yet another door leading through a bar and up a staircase behind them. Unnoticed, the gunmen responsible for killing Jose reappear, quietly trailing the remaining players. The staircase leads outside into a hedge maze, where the group splits. Simone and Teresa in one direction, the rest in another before they can regroup. Gunfire erupts near the entrance, forcing Lupe and her parents to flee while barely evading a shot fired directly at them. Teresa, meanwhile, ends up alone in the maze, her untreated withdrawal symptoms making it hard to think clearly. As one gunman gets uncomfortably close, she hides just in time to avoid detection. The second gunman pursues Lupe's family through the maze, firing and missing entirely before the family finds a gap in the hedges and escapes altogether. Teresa eventually finds a path leading outside, but the moment freedom seems within reach, she's struck down by a car driven to her horror by Simone himself, who's revealed to be Pablo Vega all along, having orchestrated the entire game from within the group. The whole time, she begs to be spared for her son's sake.
Don't do this to my son.
But Vega turns up the radio and runs her over anyway. Meanwhile, Lupe and her parents reach the shoreline and spot an escape boat, swimming out and climbing aboard just as Vega arrives on the beach behind them. Still unaware of his true identity, the family hesitates before Esteban tries to start the engine. Anyway, stopped by his daughter, once Vega boards, he pulls out 2 guns, aiming one at Marta and revealing the truth to the horrified family. He forces Esteban and Marta to the back of the boat, aiming a gun at Lupe while handing the other to her parents for one final twisted game, Russian roulette, threatening to kill Lupe himself if they refuse to play. Marta hesitates to pull the trigger on her own husband, prompting Vega to reveal Esteban has a history of minors, including one of Lupe's own former classmates, and warns that Lupe herself was next on his list, a claim Lupe herself confirms is true. Unable to bring herself to shoot him, even then Marta has the gun taken from her and handed to Esteban instead, who apologizes to his wife before pulling the trigger on himself. The chamber empty, much to Vega's dark amusement, exposing exactly how far Esteban's cruelty really goes. As gunmen wait on shore for instructions, Vega has Lupe signal them to leave, and Marta, realizing in horror that her own daughter has been working alongside Vega this entire time, completely breaks down. Lupe finally confronts her father directly, revealing he abused her as a child too, and turns her gun on him while blaming her mother for knowing and never protecting her. When Lupe can't bring herself to finish it, Vega steps in and kills Esteban himself, leaving his body floating in the water before turning his attention to Marta, ensuring she suffers the same fate her sister Ophelia once did. With the bloodshed finally over, Lupe and Vega sit together watching the sunset, bringing the twisted game to its end.